Hey everyone, Effie here. Today we're releasing our new Rose of Sharon Fields layering stencil set. This set has 6 stencils. Each of the stencils has an etched number on them to indicate which layer you're currently working on. Stencils 1 through 3 are the first 3 petal layers. I'll use Orchid Crush, Dolled Up, and Deep Peony for stencils 1, 2, and 3. For stencil 4, there are 5 etched circles on stencil 4. I've circled them in red on the video. We're going to selectively blend inside the red circled areas on stencil 4 and 5, and then stencil 6 is the last layer. So let's go ahead and begin blending. Stencil number 1, we're just going to blend the entire stencil with Orchid Crush. Make sure you go in with a lighter touch because for the first petal layer, you don't want to go too dark. Otherwise, you have to go heavier and heavier on the subsequent layers. You want to make sure you blend off the corners of the stencil onto the cardstock for stencil 1 so that you create your registration mark so you know where to place stencil 2. Once we're done blending stencil 1, just replace it with stencil 2 and blend stencil 2 with Dolled Up. You can use a heavier hand for stencil 2. When you're done with 2, replace that with stencil number 3. We're just going to go in with Deep Peony over the entire stencil. And when we're done with stencil 3, just take that stencil off, replace it with stencil 4. You're going to place stencil 4 right inside the 4 corners that are blended on the cardstock. Now, this is the first stencil that has the etched circles on them where you're going to do selective ink blending. So there are 5 areas inside the center of our Rose of Sharon florals, and we're just going to add Grand Fuchsia inside those 5 circled areas. And then we're just going to blend the rest of the stencil with a lighter green color. We're using Soft Garden. So we're just doing some selective ink blending on stencil number 4. We're going to do the same thing on stencil number 5. You're going to have circled etched areas on stencil 5 where you're going to use, or I'm going to use Plum wine in these 4 areas. They are the floral centers. We're just using Plum wine. When we're done with the floral centers, we're going to switch over to a green brush and we're going to go in with a darker green for the rest of the stencil. We're using Deep Emerald for our second layer of our foliage. When you're done blending stencil number 5, you can be done at this point. You don't have to blend anymore. However, this set does come with a 6th background stencil. So this is what that stencil looks like. You can just place it right over your blended image and add some color to the background of your Rose of Sharon Fields panel. I'm going in with grapefruit and then a little bit of medallion. I thought that going in with 2 colors for the background will add a little bit more interest to my panel. You can go in with 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors, whatever your heart desires. So this is what the panel looks like when you use all 6 stencils. I'm so happy with the way that this design came out. However, you have an alternative option. If you use the coordinating die, you can also create a background color that's not blended. So there is a coordinating die for our Rose of Sharon Fields background layering stencils. When you die cut the background, this is what that looks like. It's very intricate, really, really pretty. The die cut lines cut right along the color lines of the design. So it cuts out most of the negative space. There are some spaces where we did have to keep it in to keep the design intact so that it's easier to adhere down to your background. So what I did was I just glued this piece down onto some gray cardstock. I also added some medallion to the centers of my florals to give the hibiscus just a little bit of warmth. So that's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out the blog for more details on our 11th anniversary release. Everything is available for purchase now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.